All right, lighting's perfect, so we're just gonna have a quick little stint out here on this piece. Now, it's wild, it's crazy, and we have our white, black, a little bit of blue, teeny bit of, what do you call that, raw amber, and then we have a bunch of my favorite color, Naples yellow. The dripping white one you see here, that is our, what do you call that, clear painting medium. So that's gonna make it run better. Very, very important to make things pretty. Okay, without further ado, where do we go with this stuff? Just down through here, I think. And grab a bit of the blue, straight into the clear painting medium with a bit of white. Yum, yummy, yum, yum, yum. Thin it out a wee bit, that's what it's gonna look like coming forward here. Look at that. So it's kind of like a soft steel, a bit more pigment through it, a bit of fun, a bit simple. Now remember guys, we're here for a good time, not a long time. So I'll pop on and off during the day, but I'm trying to stay on top of a few things, jobs around the house today, and bits and pieces on my laptop. So I'll come on out here for a breath of fresh air, join you guys, slap some paint on here, and do that. Aloha! Welcome on in, Steve. Now, we're just gonna dabble with a few little bits. This really got thick though. This got really textured really fast, and I'm here for it. The key to a big textured painting like this though is keeping a bit of that control in the chaos, keeping it looking intentional, even though there's thick, cascading paint in all directions. We've got to keep a bit of intentionality built into it. That's a must. It's an absolute must. Now let's get a bit more. There we go. A bit through there, a bit more blue. We'll just navigate that up. There we go. Nice. A bit more. Beautiful, and a bit more. There we go, just down the base here, just a few little blippy blockies. Lovely. Coming across here just a wee bit. I'm adding paint all day if you let me. Just little bits and bobs, keeping the whole thing together. Hey Mikey, welcome in. We're working with the blue now. You can see how when you add this white to it, it just makes it run so much better, that clear, smooth painting medium. If you use it straight, this is the heavy gel blue, and you see how it kind of blobs around there? It's thick, it's great for texture, but actually, you do want a bit of that clear painting medium in there to actually help it all come together properly. Let's make it on just a little bit. There we go. Temptation, just going to dabble through there just with teeny, tiny little bits just like that. And I'm going to actually add in a little bit of black to this, just a little bit. I've been quite, dare I say it, crazy on the color palette. Lots of saturation, so a little bit more of the refining grays will have a massive difference in this painting. I just couldn't help myself. I just kept seeing moments of abundant color and just throwing. Hey, thanks. Sarah, you're an absolute legend. You don't need to own a print. You don't need to own a painting. You just need to tap the screen. Tapping, literally, you tapping may just show the art to someone who does want a print, who does want an original. And through such a simple act, you can actually result in supporting and spreading the art. Kind of a fun way to do it, to be fair. Oh, going to read that comment out loud. And Steve, you had me cracking up the other day. I couldn't resist but have a little bit of a scroll, and I saw the you had a post text you'd shared about Walmart versus Target, and hating it when Walmart doesn't have it, so you've got to have a shower and go to Target. I respect that. It was very funny. Very funny. Had me giggling. I'm like, I've been there. I've had that experience. Thanks, Sarah. Let's get a bit more of this through here. This guy is getting strangely a little bit more reminiscent of the likes of the Big Apple. Carrying sampans and shells a caterpillar, but it has that Big Apple vibe to it, which is nice. I try. You do, Sarah, and I respect you for it. Let's get that in there. There we go. Let's get that in there. And let's just get that up through there. Perfecto. A little bit more of this. It's this beautiful, it's acrylic wash, so it's got a bit more kick to it in that sense. But it just makes this lovely, lovely, smooth, powerful colour. We can just play with it over the surface. Just the teeniest, tiniest little bit, keeping that turbulent kind of nature coming through in the sky. Adding a bit more naples. Just a wee bit. Beautiful. A bit more of that through here. And a bit more of that. There's a lovely grey tone to it. Subtle, but gorgeous. We're going to come up here. Just strike a few of these colours just a wee bit. Right up the top. Let me lean on this wall here and really. A bit more black in there too. Right up the top. Wonderful. And a bit more black again. Not enough black, you just keep on adding it on. Sneak around the edges there. Floating while painting. Sounds exciting. I think I missed that one. Hey Alex. Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Thanks for stopping on by and being so kind. And I hope you, wherever you are in this big old world, that you have a great weekend too. Thanks for being here. You're absolute legend. And to everyone who shared the live with their friends, we're here right now, spreading just a little bit of love. So thanks for being a part of that, spreading that too. That's very nice of you. And I hope whoever you shared it with also enjoys the vibe. The little sanctuary away from the chaos of the world that we're trying to create here. Jason, you're included in that. There we go. And dive into a bit of brown. There we go. Yeah, Shelby, I've had this one out for the last few days. Just adding a little more pockets, and she keeps saying to me, surely it's done now. Surely it's done now. I'm like, no, not yet. No, not yet. There's all these little pockets and moments that I just want to get a little bit more of. Get some more black down in here, just down these deep parts. Here we go. Little bits, little bits. Bit more blue in there, get some steely grey going on. Just get some, yeah, there we go. Come in here. And now we're talking to it. Just come right in here to the side. Adding it on, and the Polaroid pictures are absolutely perfect for what we're trying to do. So, first off, they're really tactile. Second off, voila, it gives me the idea of what we're dealing with on a really tactile and personal level. Now we've got this one, and we've also got the sky. So we're splicing, guys. That one for composition, that one for vibe. So if you look at the big turbulent sky we're dealing with, look at that. That's what we want to capture here. And there's kind of this little bit of a blend. We're mixing the warm Naples vermilion sky. You'll see touches of blue in it because that's combining just a little bit of this first image in there with its smoother, more steely-like tones. Thanks, AG. And hey, thanks, Carter. I appreciate you being here. Now we're just adding this plate here onto the artwork. So when this plate runs out, I will be evaporating on you, but they will pop in and out. Let me get some more jobs done, and then I'll come back and we'll do a bit more. And then I'll get some more jobs done, and we'll come back and do a bit more. There we go. It's kind of fun because I can prepare a palette, and then I can drop it. I can prepare a palette, and then I can look forward to it on my way to finish my next job, which I think is quite pretty. Let's get this here. Beautiful. The dogs are around today too, but they're just hanging out under the sun, having a good time. Shakina, I'm doing good, thanks for being here. It's a memorial, so this is the Washington Memorial. I didn't take these photos, thanks for asking though. I can take good photos, I promise, but these photos were taken by Tyler. So Tyler walks near this fantastic monument, and he wanted to capture it from the other side, which I respect, because a lot of the time we understand the Washington Memorial from the Forrest Gump movie, which was Jenny running through it, but there's so much more to it. There's a whole angle that actually we forget exists with so much beauty. So to have the actual privilege to capture that, it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. Here we are. See a bit more of that through there. Kind of see that kind of cloud bank surging at that point. I'm just going to get a bit more. Now we're talking to it. You've got to make sure in those later pieces of painting as well, you don't lose your, should I say, vibe? A lot of the time we can lose our energy towards the brush strokes. We start thinking, oh, I like everything. Don't make anything too intense to ruin it. And when you start thinking like that, your brush strokes kind of lose their creative flair. They kind of just fall into a sort of preset pattern of what you think you can add without ruining what you've already got. And the reality of it is, if you're still painting, you're putting the entire painting at risk. You have to risk the whole painting, or actually what you end up with, just never, you can't have the last strokes not carrying that flair. You can't. You've literally got to risk everything all the time and let the painting keep developing. That's the only way to make something you'll truly be happy with. The moment you start, what's the saying? One must risk going too far to learn how far one can go. No, you've got to risk ruining the painting in order to see where the painting can go. Otherwise, the video replied, perfect. And I'm doing well. Thank you very much. Shika, you've told me that before, and I'm sorry for tripping up twice. That's shameful of me. It'll be the weather, the humidity. It'll be something. There we go, let's get this in there. Let's get a bit more of that blue. There's more of that blue in there than we give credit for, just down there in that little niche part. And then there's a bit more streaming through here, just like that. Absolutely stunning. Now this part here, there's a cute little structure here. The big structures we're after though is the castle-like structure here, and then over here there'll be a dome that we nurture into the picture. Chicana, like Shakira, but Chicana. There'll be a trail of thought gone. Can't remember what I was saying. Wasn't that exciting though, otherwise I would have remembered. Let's get this in there. There we go. Gorgeous. A bit more down. Yeah, now we're talking to it. We've got more white than I expected, but to alleviate that, I'm going to grab my orange and keep combining. Change of plan. Thought I was going to grab orange. I've gone for red. Let's play with this. Get it up here and yeah, there we go. Just bounce around through there. Now through. There we go. That's going to come out a bit further. A little nasal. Just over there we go. You really trust yourself when you're working with something this crazy, because if you lose attacked, start panicking, try and build definition, you'll never get it. You've got to actually rely on your instincts to just keep putting little bits of paint down where you think they might go and allow the painting to slowly emerge. Control, at this point of the painting, control is not your friend. It'll only stand to have a detrimental effect on the end result. You see it? Ah, I've got it right. That's fantastic. I'm glad. They're not painted that well. They might be painted at the store. I'm doing very well with them actually. I haven't got any paint on them as of yet, so I'm kind of proud of myself. These will be the last two colours we add, guys. Once these colours are out, I'm out, and then I'll be back. But we're here for a good time, but not too long. There we go. I'm loving this. Let's get a bit more of that thick one. Here we go. See the difference in colour here? See that deep red? That's what I want. I want that real intensity in colour in these parts. I still want the blue, but the blue's playing, I would say, more of a role than I had planned for it. I need to bring it back a little bit, bring in some more of that red, and allow the whole thing to really, really pump and become what we need it to be. There we go. Let's get this in there like that. Beautiful. And let's get this in there like that. Nice. Let's keep it coming, keep it coming. Let's do this here like that. Wonderful. Let's get this. Yeah. Touches, little touches everywhere. There we go. Just get that through. So it comes into the sky there just a wee bit. Gorgeous. And then that's going to deviate through there. That's what I want. Then right up in here, it's going to make this wonderful cloud bank. That's what this is. You get a bit more of that Naples yellow in there. Just really build that up through there. Kind of sporadically heads out in these other directions. It's gorgeous. And then that kind of staples in there just like that. It spreads out in two little wings. And the next thing we want to do is just get a little bit more there. Keep that mixing. It's turning like a rosé tone. I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. We're going to get that. There we are. Just perfect. and then coming across the top there just in a few of these little waves. We're going to get right down here, down and dirty, right beside the actual landscape, and bring the sky down. We want the sky to actually come in here and stroke the top of the hills. We don't want to create this environment where the hills feel separate, as if they're superimposed onto the sky, but we want to create this environment where you actually feel like the sky and the hills are actually, if anything, the sky's laid on the hills, but all to be the same. Now, what colours do we have left here? Let's put a bit of brown into that rosé. There we go. Give me like a leather burgundy. I like it. Thanks, Michael. It's a pleasure to have you back too. Thought we'd lost you there for a moment. There we are, just a cute. There's this temptation when you find the perfect colour for a spot to go over the top, but don't do that. Just put on the right amount. If you get the right amount in there, a smaller amount can actually speak larger volumes. It's kind of like that use of negative space or silence. Silence in an argument, in a relationship, can be deafening. So, when you hit the right colour in the right spot, lean into that silence. There we go. That's what I'm after. Gorgeous. And sneak down there. Perfect. We come up the side here too, do the same. Just a bit of that. Nice. Let's do a bit more. Oh, that's perfect actually. Don't go, follow my own advice. Don't get too excited, don't go too far. Just the right amount. Just keep on. Little deviations and touches that allow this actual. I want you to keep on losing yourself in this work. I don't want you to actually see this work and then fully understand it. I want you to constantly. We're using Tupperware today. You can't have a plate every single time. I haven't been to an op shop recently to pick up some more porcelain. But look. Do I dream? A little bit, Derek. After a big day of painting, all you see is brushstrokes when you close your eyes. Look, with this kind of painting here though, you want to constantly re-see it, see new things, and as you get bored of certain colours or paint strokes, you won't just simply fully understand the painting, you'll see new ones. And so there's this constant conversation, this constant intrigue, which makes this painting something more than just a piece you'd find in a gallery. It's actually an ongoing conversation, a relationship. That's what good art should be. If it comes into your home, you need to feel like you've got a connection with it. If you don't feel a connection with the art, look at it on a gallery wall. It's beautiful, but leave it at that. But you want more than that. You definitely want more. What you want is actually a painting that you constantly get to re-enjoy, get to reimagine, and get to actually evolve with. I've got paintings in my house that I still haven't fully fathomed all the brushstrokes on, all the little moments, all the colours, all the pigments. And because of that, I'm not ready to sell them. I want to keep on reimagining it myself and seeing new parts of it, new ways to understand it. And that's really important. I'm going to grab just a little bit of yellow. I didn't think I was going to, but I'm going to. Here we go. Just a little bit of yellow. That's our yellow there. And we're going to mix it into our sort of deep violet. And then our sort of naughty, what would you call that? We'll call that grunge rosé. Who would you love to talk to? Monet? Look, without even reading the second name, Monet. I like Monet. I'd like to know more about how he got addicted to water lilies. I'd like to know more about. Do I need to speak with Monet though? I don't know, I'd like to speak with a philosopher, I think. Russell Brand. I'd enjoy to speak with Russell Brand. I think a lot of my heroes in terms of people I'd want to speak to are philosophers. In fact, if there was anyone from the art world that I'd want to speak to, it's a female called Joanna, who is, in my mind, responsible for making Van Gogh a celebrity. I'd love to speak to her. I'd love to hear about how her mind worked, how she was thinking, how she planned, or I'd just love to hear about her conviction. She is one of the most phenomenal women and phenomenal people that have ever carved a story on earth. And she is, I've got an art history degree, so I can say this, she is the sole reason that Van Gogh is the greatest of all time. She's the sole reason that Van Gogh exists in anyone's mouths when they talk about art at all. He was put in front of everyone. Everyone saw Van Gogh. Everyone knew who Van Gogh was. His brother Theo was putting Van Gogh out everywhere to try and sell Van Goghs, but no one wanted Van Goghs. It was Joanna, after Van Gogh's death, and her husband Theo's death, who suddenly said, you know what? As a tribute to my husband, and as a tribute to Van Gogh, now that I've got Theo's, was it a son or a daughter? I've got Theo's child here. I'm going to dedicate my life to making Van Gogh famous. And guess what? She did it. You've never heard of her, and it's an actual indictment on history that we even discuss art history and don't centre any conversation about success in art or success of artists around Joanna, because she made it happen. And yet we get the idea that if the artist is great, they'll be famous regardless. No, absolutely not. No, Van Gogh killed himself in cold blood. He was the only one. He was by himself. He was lonely, and he couldn't sell a painting. It was Joanna who, over the next years of her life, dedicated everything she had to make a reality in this world where everyone, if they were to speak about art, would have to say Van Gogh's name. You cannot talk about Impressionist artwork. You cannot talk about artwork in any shape or form without mentioning Van Gogh. You could not mention Picasso, art would be fine, but you can't not mention Van Gogh. His name is as synonymous with painting as, I don't know, as Caesar is with Rome. Yeah, you can't talk about Rome without mentioning Caesar. You can't talk about painting without mentioning Van Gogh. If you say the American way, it's Van Gogh. If you're saying it the correct way, the way that Van Gogh would have said it, he'd be saying Van, so not Van, Van, and Gogh. So there's not a go, it's a Gogh. Kind of more guttural, kind of spit the words out. Van Gogh. My pronunciation is poor there, but I prefer the American way of saying it, Van Gogh. It's not how he would have said it, but it's a way for everyone to get on board with it much easier. When I say Van Gogh, you know who I'm talking about. It doesn't sound like I have the flu, and we, overall, I believe, get a better result. I think any use of a term, correct or not, that allows more people to understand and get on board with an idea, the better off you'll be. Better off you'll be. Now, I'm having a little moment, I'm having a lapse here. Van Gogh did most of his painting in Paris, and that's where Theo was based. Theo was based in Paris. And where was Van Gogh? I forget where Van Gogh was based, but Van Gogh would come and visit Theo in Paris. Theo was trying to sell Van Gogh's works in Paris by a gallery that he worked at. I'm trying to remember back now. Jeepers creepers. And Joanna originally was trying to sell Van Gogh's work in Paris, and she quickly realized that actually Paris wasn't the right place. She went back to Van Gogh's hometown and ran a lodge and meticulously got all his works framed. But then what really created the boom that made Van Gogh famous was the American demand for post-impressionism, of which Van Gogh was the perfect running man. No one would have known if it wasn't for Joanna. And so there's a couple of things there. You could say it wasn't Joanna, it was a perfect storm. I don't know. There was a lot of impressionist artists out there. There was an entirety of Paris where everyone was trying to make it as artists, and yet the dead one rises to the top when no one wanted him. It sounds like there's more than just coincidental timing occurring there. It sounds like there's a mastermind who, because she was a woman in 1890, wasn't respected enough for anyone to believe that she could actually be pulling strings or doing something as major as this, but she did. Joanna. If you talk about art history without mentioning Joanna, we can't really have a conversation. She's the major player. All right, let's get a bit more. I'm a little bit, and the reason why I get so barred up on Joanna as opposed to anyone else is I was originally not aware of her. I did a whole art history degree, and Van Gogh, through that degree, was one of my favorite artists, and yet I didn't hear about Joanna. Someone explained that to me. And then once I actually heard about her, I was a bit embarrassed. And now I've read about her book. Well, not her book, but someone's written a based on a true story book based on her diaries, which have now been released online. The family of Joanna has allowed the diaries online, and you can actually get a bit of sense of that whole tale, significant as it is. How much does a painting like yours cost? Tyler. All right, first off, great name, Tyler. The person who's commissioned this painting is also called Tyler. They chop and they change, Tyler. So for me, I do everything inclusive. Art's complex, and it's hard to actually buying a painting such a leap in the first instance. All the rest of the complication should be taken out. So whether it's VAT taxes, shipping, protecting and insurance, whatever it is, I do everything. So the painting's going to arrive on your doorstep, ready to hang. I hate the rolled canvases. Don't roll artwork. Oh, I can do it. Yeah, cool. So you can do it, and you provide the collector with a job at the other end. There's very few people in this world who have connections with someone who can actually rewrap a canvas easily. You've just been sent to do a giant job of drop off somewhere, get a job quoted, wait for it, pick it up, and all of this adds risk. They might damage the artwork. How about instead we ship a finished product? So I've got great relationships with the shipping companies. They go inside these lovely protective boxes, and they are framed as well. The framing on one hand is nice, but it also creates protection as well. It's just another layer of shielding around the artwork itself. So if anything might happen, the frame can step in and protect a bit more over and above the box. It's not a must, but we've had crazy things happen. I've had a work where a forklift has tried to drive through it. How unbelievable is that? The woman in his story went, yeah, this is true. When we hear about Van Gogh, we hear about a tortured artist who was reaching for fame but couldn't quite make it. Then after his death, suddenly a light bulb flicked and we all realized Van Gogh's artwork's amazing. Please walk me through that and how ridiculously unlikely that is. It sounds like there's something fishy going on there. It's far more likely that Van Gogh, after his death, and Joanna took the reins, had, dare I say it, a serious rebrand. I think that's fair to say. She released all the letters that Van Gogh sent to Theo, his brother, who meticulously kept about 860 of them in a big stack. And because of that, she could actually put those letters up there of Van Gogh's traumatized yet beautiful mind and show them off with the actual artwork. And so what this did to the biggest extent, the reason why this was so effective in this period, it's hard to replicate today, but the reason why it was so effective is it humanized Van Gogh. Suddenly we didn't just see an artwork and judge it on how pretty it was, but we understood the outrageous, crazy, turbulent, free mind behind it and his passion for color and capturing the beauty of the world he saw around him. once we understood that that was the goal, we were lured, we were enamored, we fell in love with Starry, Starry Night. We suddenly understood it better than we ever could have just by looking at the picture. Once we understood, and that's where things like Don McLean's Starry, Starry Night song comes into context about Vincent. And you suddenly start, even before you see Vincent's work, you hear the song Starry, Starry Night, and you feel like you're going to better understand the art. And that's that humanization that part of it. It's a must. You must, as an artist, you can't glorify yourself. That's just a Marvel movie. That goes nowhere. To be an artist, you have to humanize yourself. There has to be a connection. And I keep coming back to the word connection because without connection, there's no point in the art. But connection also means that there's two parties who both, for a brief moment, had the ability to be human. And through that, art gets meaning. So Van Gogh and Joanna, a great example of that. Enough of a rant. Sorry, guys. Yeah. That's where the focus does go on those lessons. But trust me, old Theo did his best. But when Van Gogh died, Theo lost his will. He was done. Theo died 6 months after Van Gogh. Think of me that. Actually, I think you can safely say, I'm going to add just a little bit of blue to this and then we're going to tap out. You can safely say that after Van Gogh died, Theo felt like there was nothing else to live for. And Theo actually descended into a bit of madness. And when he died locked in a jail cell in a straitjacket. But also understand with that, a couple of things you could say. You could say, well, it wasn't just Van Gogh, he had syphilis. He did. Theo had syphilis. It advanced, it got into his brain, and it made him go mad and kill him. Yes. But I wouldn't say it was coincidence that it happened within 6 months of Van Gogh dying. I think Van Gogh pushed him over the edge as well. And left Joanna in a very tough spot. It's not easy in 1890s being broke with 1,000 Van Gogh works and a child and no husband. That's a tough situation. That's the line Joanna walked. And if there's any true hero in the story, I believe she's as important to talk about as any painting that Van Gogh painted. You need a mad genius, you do. But every mad genius needs a Joanna. There we go. A little bit of blue in there. You see how it makes that motley? That's what we want. Just a bit of that, just underneath the clouds there a little bit. This is correct, Michael. It's good having you here, Michael. So you've got a bit of info on it. That's good. This is good. This painting already has a necessary perfection. Not just yet. There's little pockets. I want more from it. It has, yes, it gives enough. This is ready to be hung on a wall. I love it. I love it. Is it done? No. I'm waiting for something more from this painting, and I want it. I want there to be more character around the sort of landscape, not this hazy line that it currently has. I want to see that cloud bank just through here. I love the memorial. It stands strong, it stands proud, it's not over detailed, it's raw. I love that. This here, there's a dome here that needs more work. The sky itself, it has this turbulence to it through here. But here, this kind of just sits up there as this blue, awkward frame sitting on top. It needs that vitality, that deeper burgundy pulling through that to justify this Naples yellow. Down here, this is fun, this is sporadic, but why not more? Well, give me more from the grass. Give me more blues, give me more greens. Give me some more of these kind of siennas and these reds that you're playing with. There's more that we need. So yeah, I totally agree. It's beautiful, but I'm a greedy man and I want more. So we're not going to stop until I get that. I did send Tyler through a few progress pics yesterday though. I said, look, I'm in love with it. We're heading in all sorts of the right direction, but we are not there yet. We are going to continue plowing on for longer. This is the last colour we're adding, team. Once this is out, I'm going to abandon you guys. And I'm not going to feel bad about it because I'm going to come back later. So, if you've got anything you want to say, like what you're having for lunch, or that it's your bedtime and you won't be back later, I totally understand. You do you. I wouldn't tell you otherwise. And Tyler's a really cool dude. So what I do with the collectors when I do the commissions is I'll typically do a face-to-face meeting, because there's a lot you can learn above and beyond an email by actually talking to someone face-to-face. Do you need a face-to-face on every picture? Not all the time. After you've had your first commission, once I know you, yeah, we can keep making them without a meeting. But in the last year or so, I've found huge perks to actually meeting people face-to-face on like a Google Meet and actually understanding them on a deeper level. We don't need to talk about the artwork. We don't need to talk about, I like green, or, this. Tell me about you. What makes you tick? What in life brought you here on this Zoom call right now? What makes you happy? What makes you sad? What are you, like, it sounds so cheesy, but what are your dreams? Who do you want to be? If there was one change you could see in the world, what would it be? If you could have one decision back, what would you do? What's your biggest regret? And it's interesting because these aren't always the same for people. What people would change in the world, change in themselves, it's always so vastly different. And a lot of people actually, at the stage they come to for a commission, actually don't want to change anything about themselves. They've hit a window where they say, no, I'm who I want to be. And actually this commission is more of just me celebrating that I've reached a stage of accepting myself. Do you realize how important it is to know that as the artist if you're about to make a piece of artwork for a person? Anyway, team, I'm about to hit the track. Thank you very much for joining, you pack of legends. I will be back in probably like an hour or two. So if you're around, I'd love to have you. Broadway Steve, thank you very much. This one hopefully will be available as prints. And if you've been on the prints website recently, they're all massive, guys. We used to do smaller prints, but now we're just doing big ones. And the reason behind that is, I've got a ton of the small ones inside my home, but they're just too small. You don't get when I'm standing here and I get the vibe from the piece. Yeah, the little ones are pretty, but big. It just has to be big, guys. So that's why the prints are mega scale now, to try and give you guys as closer experience to the original as possible. It did make it harder on the wallet, and I'm sorry for that, but we are working on merch, which is smaller stuff on t-shirts and stuff, so there's something for everyone's budget. But with the prints, we've got to stop the small ones. They've got to be big, they've got to carry the same experience as the original has, as close as possible. Anyway, thanks Michael, thanks everyone. Catch you next time, team. And about, like I say, give me an hour or two, give me 120 minutes. Got a few errands to run. Cheers, guys.